Welcome, good people. Thanks be to technology, by the way. I'm chilling with cool people that finished school. I finished school before I even start for my PhD. So, guys, I'm here chilling with Chris and Akampa. And Chris is the former president of TBL, the Budo League. And Akampa is the current president. And we are here to converse about TBL. What's up, Akampa? What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up? Hi,
How are
guys.
you, Dave? How's it going?
Man, everything is good. So Chris, I want us to understand what are your highlights for the previous season when you were president? What stood out for you most that whole season?
What stood out for me? I think three things come to mind actually. I've done a couple of interviews where I've mentioned them. I just hope they can all come back to mind. It was the growth that we saw in the league, season 4, season 5, the growth that we saw, the inclusivity we incorporated in the league and the structures that were meant to be inclusive, and the drive to be more than football. I think that for me, because the league was football, we wanted to make football an excuse to meet, but not the main reason to meet. And that worked pretty well. So we as we walked out of season 5, we had actually got an appreciation of TBL is more than just football. So it's networking, it's helping each other, it's getting to know each other, it's supporting each other, and so on and so forth.
That's amazing. So Mr. Kampa, I want to understand this. You and Chris, what's the difference? What's a year difference between the two of you?
Chris is an old man.
Chris
Chris is 4 years older than me. So there were the guys that bullied us as were getting in. I think I found them in S4. So we're doing a lot of their chores when we joined. Not Chris himself. He was just playing rugby every day so he didn't have time to disturb us. But I think I found Chris. Yeah, I found his year. The year was in S4. Yeah, you were in S4 when we joined.
Because we
You're
were
old.
2004. So
Guys, so when do you get to understand Chris, or Chris? When does Chris start to be your G? Is it in school or at TV?
Budo is the dynamics that he was in Nigeria house, was in South Africa, so there's that. Where the houses are next to it. The canteen separated.
Canteen,
was
route to the pitch.
So we had a bit of a relationship in school, but then after school, we both find ourselves in the banking sector, doing very different things. It's all about the money. I'm all about the people. Which will show. I hope will reflect in our management style. And I look after small businesses. He just looks after big boys only in his monster of a bank. So our paths again cross in the professional world, but then the real time we started to interact was through TBL, because I don't think I'd seen Chris physically apart from a few calls here and there trying to his team trying to poach me to come to Stanchard, Stanley guys trying to poach him to come to the bank on a number of occasions, but the real interaction then happened when the league started, and I think that's the power of TBL. You see people that were so many classes ahead of you or so many classes below you, and then it just levels the playing field, and then you're having all these interesting conversations. So Edge stops being a factor.
Fizzles out.
Completely fizzles out. And now we're brothers, even have same knee issues, same knee injuries, same doctor going to do the surgeries. So it's a TBL is a special thing. It's a testament to what is possible.
It's interesting. So Mr. Chris, I see TBL transitioning from season 1 to season 4, but then it booms in season 5. How much research did you do? What did you envision TBL to be like before you became president? Because when you became president, man, I have a friend who is a part of Smart League, and he says, man, you guys, Budo League, you could find 600 girls walking aimlessly. You just pick one and start conversing. So there's something about Budo League that you did that made it sprout out higher than many leagues many seasons we had seen. I remember the previous season we would see 20 has come like at the end. Now you just literally gave guys a free concerts every Sunday, every Thursday. So how much research did you do, and what did you think about the Budo League when you are initiating all these things?
Well, it's not down to me. It's down to the team that and mostly also what I mean. The guys, I believe that with every leadership that comes into play, there are the people who start the project, there are the people who carry that vision on to the next level, and there are people who carry it on at the new level that it's at. Now, definitely the people who started, there was no sponsorship. It was the finances were not available. And like any startup that you would have, I mean, a company knows this. But I mean, the SME world, it's tough to get to a certain level. But I think what the team did, we just said, you know what, we understood the dynamics of, because I always tell these people, Budo is a very different. The dynamics in the school are very different. It's the only traditional mixed school.
Yeah.
And probably that makes it very different. It makes it what works for one school is not going to work for us. So we quickly realized that we packaged our own thing. We wanted to give a different product, but not only for the Budonians, for even people beyond Budo. And yeah, it so happens that season 4 was interrupted by COVID. So we had to work around that. Everything that we had planned to do in season 4, we couldn't do. So all that was pushed into season 5. But also season 5 was also the time when we built the structures, because more than anything, what we actually have in the Budo League are the structures. Without the structures, it's transitions like we've had, I mean, from Harold to myself to Akampa, those transitions become very murky. It's not very clear how they happen. So with the structures in place, it was clear what people's responsibilities were, what they needed to do to get to where, and also sponsors like structures. Before people hand you their money, before they attach their brand to your product, they want to see that there's some sort of structure. There's a sponsor I spoke to, and he argued that the reason why we want to be associated with you guys more than want to be associated with maybe other organizations is that we see some level of organization and some level of structure in you. So that's kind of what blew it up. Customizing the product, building the structures, and remembering that you can't do everything. At some point, you have to hand over and let someone else come in with a new mindset and something new to offer.
Yeah. So I see Akampa was part of your FA.
Yes.
And you are part of his FA. So surely, too much is given, much is expected. And I want to hear from Akampa, what should we expect this season 6? Are we ready? Or we need another break?
I think you need a break to prepare for what's coming, because it's going to be 9 to 10 intense months of Budo League. I mean, and I think what's very exciting this season is getting more people involved in the operation. I think the FA has expanded. We now have creative directors on the team. We have CSR, which is very exciting for me. A chance to give back. I think we talk about impact, but now, to Chris's point, we're putting structure to that impact to say what is it that we want to be remembered for. How do we think about the lives of the people who come to the league beyond just the football, beyond the camaraderie? How do I impact Davis's life? How do I ensure that the next career opportunity that is available, you're best prepared for it? I think that you'll see change this season, not accidentally but intentionally, as opposed to just vibes and concerts and everything else. Those are not going away. I mean, we are gearing up for even bigger numbers, and I think thanks to the foundations, we're getting a lot of positive feedback from the sponsors, so we might have some money to play with. Everything needs money at the end of the day, but I'm genuinely excited. This season is going to be right from President's Cup on the 20th to the finale on 6th of August. It's going to be powerful production. I don't think anyone should miss out. Budonian or otherwise, I think maybe the other professional leagues in the country will take a thing or two about how to get organized and run something. Not to throw shit at anybody really, but we're ready.
So speaking of sponsors, I want to allow you to speak about this because I'm sure there's people out there wondering about how is it going to be for season 6. Now this is an opportunity for them to get to know about so many things that happen in the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
How far with the sponsors, which sponsors are coming through? Should we expect bigger sponsors, the same sponsor? Is Gibbs coming back? His bottles again? Like where to get like this information?
So the sponsorship liaison is in the room, but look, I can't come up here and declare who is coming back and who is not because we'll have grand announcement for those and there's for contractual negotiations that are still ongoing. What I can tell you is we have interest from some very big sponsors because the equity of the TBL brand has now grown to a level where now I get calls. Like I'll be in the middle of the day and I'll get a call from a big brand, a big company like, hi, can we take a meeting? We would like to partner with the league with something. So sponsors are coming to us as opposed to us just always running to them. And that I don't take for granted. I count our blessings. It's down to what the product that we have been able to put out. So whether it's from a media perspective, whether it's from a commercial partnerships, based off the attendance numbers, sponsorship is going to be a big deal. And for me, as equally as important to the TBL league sponsors is the individual team sponsors. Because running a team is expensive. I've run Basuzi for 3 seasons. I think there's a part of me that's relieved that that piece is being handed over to somebody else. But creating value for your team sponsor is equally as important for us as TBL. Otherwise, if the teams are feeling a very high financial burden, then the level of involvement is not where it's supposed to be. So shining the light on our league sponsors, shining the light on the team sponsors, that is another deliberate initiative that we're going to have to think about and figure out, and hopefully platforms like this one, or the podcast, the YouTube channel, and the social media, we will be able to shine more light on the back for our small businesses, like Nicole's fragrance brand. I mean, how do we shine light on those small businesses? So we promote the Budonian brand. Remember the impact conversation we had earlier? Because it goes, even sponsorship follows the same train of thought. So now I'm not going to tell you who the sponsors are going to be. You're going to have to wait like everybody else, all our listeners, but eventually we will get there.
So Mr. Chris, talking of season 5 highlights,
I think I know where this is going.
let me skip what you thought I was going to say. So Bifa Centurion's Afrobeat. You made us wait for a minute for you to get this top of Bifa Centurion's Afrobeat. First, explain to us what was the Bifa Centurion's Afrobeat before we get into the real highlights of season 5.
Yeah, so Bifa Centurion's Afrobeat. So I'm a Centurion, and we're hosting the grand finale with Bifa, and that was our theme. But as you might know, the finale had a lot going on. So we're just hoping that we'll get another chance to be partnered together somehow for us to pull off Afrobeat. So that's why I'm wearing this today, to say that be careful. If the stars align and we are partnered together, we have to pull off our Afrobeat.
They're putting in excuses for losing out on the best post. They're saying, we didn't implement, we did. We did. I think I'm a piano first.
I still wonder how you missed out on being the best host after being a chopper. Man, like, which guys were voting? Because no, the chopper trended on NBS, NTV, Twitter, Facebook. But the chopper story. What's first tell us the chopper story.
Yeah.
Man, we also want to bring a chopper when DJ is hosting. You just bring a chopper to bring our coaches and
No. So the
players.
chopper was actually away from the match hosts and Centurions and Bifa. It was actually the TBL. It was a TBL effect. But that's something we had actually. I mean, Akampa was on the group. It's something I raised. I think the first time I raised it, everyone.
We actually thought he's mad.
Yeah. I had the text.
I'll bring a chopper tomorrow.
You're mad.
No, he said I'm bringing a chopper for the finale at the beginning of the season.
I see that.
And we're like, you're absolutely crazy.
Akampa first say something at the beginning. Because if you say it at the beginning, first say something at the beginning.
Let's first stick to Chris's craziness for now.
Because
but he needs to tell you that story. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so season 4, I think we're in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
I was in Botswana. I was no more work day, and I just get my phone and text guy and say, "Why don't we land the chopper for the finale?" And everyone first kept quiet. Then of course one guy who was bold enough to come out and say, "You're mad."
I think I know that guy.
So I tasked one of the guys, because I was not in the country, so I tasked, I think it was Nagin who I told, "Please find out what does it take to land a chopper at Legends." And we'll run around. I made a few phone calls while I was there. I met, high-ranking people to get it done, but we weren't able to do it because of COVID. We didn't want to draw attention to the grand finale, so we parked it for the next season. And the reason why we needed to make our finale, we needed to trend. It was an investment. We needed to do something different. We needed to stand out as the Budo League, and that what I like about it the most is that the investment paid off. I think that morning I posted, only the FA knew about it, so no one else knew. Not even the guys who were hosting it knew. So I posted on the community group that let's break the internet.
Yeah.
But no one let's go break the internet. And then it's, when it happened, it was nostalgic even for me. I felt like, wow, that's really happened. And then I think it was the guys, Timothy, who then posted in the group that, it's one of those things that you hear about it, it's going to happen.
It's crazy.
But when you actually see it happen, you get all like a child, you become like a kid. So it was one of those highlights. But it was also to just set the standard for the next guys, for the people that come next. Like, you see, you don't, if you shoot too low, then we continue to hit those low standards. But if you shoot it so high, now I don't know what Akampa is going to do. We don't know what he's going to do.
I want to know.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Titanic comes from the Victoria and lands.
Because
no pressure. We'll figure it out. Look, I have an FA of 25 people. Brilliant minds. As in, we are only going to be limited by imagination.
I think we need background on this.
He is the creative director with yourself, so you guys start thinking about the finale. Because
I think for the finale, because if you thought about it, I'm a piano first, so you can think about something in the line of a chopper. So probably you bring like a private jet
to land where?
We'll build a runway. We'll build a runway at Legends running for a small. No, I think. Look, we'll figure the finale. This finale will be bigger than even the last one.
Exactly.
And I think the anticipation. So like everyone will have the anticipation of what can top.
What can they do?
Chopper.
Yeah.
So that alone, we can't afford to let it down. So my dear creative directors, David and Davis, as in we have our cut out for us, but I am not worried. We have the right team in place to deliver, not just for the finale, throughout the season. You're going to see a lot of themes on match days. The calendar is riddled with, as in we'll have a Mother's Day theme, we'll have a Women's Day theme, there's a Father's Day theme, there is the Founders Day theme. I think we'll have some match days that are offsite. I don't want to give too much away. Some match days won't be at Legends, they'll be at different locations. We'll take TBL on the road. It's going to be an exciting
Back to
season.
school.
We'll see about that.
I really do know if guys are really ready for season 6, but maybe I would love you to give us parting shots, and this parting shot would have what has been different about this season? Like what is it that you bring different about this season? Is there something that has not been there but coming through now? To do with the loans, what people. I had some conversations of it's gonna be now a single one man army doing the match days no longer the 2 days. What's all this conversation? Because I'm sure there's someone out there who is wondering what's happening. I'm hearing rumor, this and that. What's true? Are single teams going to be doing match days, and what do you think about the coming of Valor kids? Yeah. So what's the story? What's the story?
That is I don't know, that's a raging debate about duo hosting versus single hosting. Now, for now it's open. There's two schools of thought, which is if we think about it from a financial standpoint and not from a creative standpoint, you have limitations. If you think about it only from a creative standpoint and not think about the financing, there's limitations. The reason the two teams were introduced is to build new relations, to build deeper connection to people that you typically don't have a conversation or connection with. So there's merits to that. The flip side is the financial burden on some of the years. Some teams have come out to complain about the financial burden that then introduces for you to host too much days. I can speak from it as the best hosts. It was a very expensive season for us last season. So there's those two, and trust me, we will make the right decision as to how we will carry the season on. One that caters for the best interests of those two trains of thought, but it won't limit. Whatever we agree won't limit the creativity and the delivery on match days. Coming up by law, you'll be surprised if they do the right planning, or Mandela or some of these young guys. If you plan properly and you bring on sponsors, I think the expectation is you are thinking about it from my pocket and your pocket. You can't run a team that way. There's no team in the world that will ever run that way. It's impossible. You have to get sponsors, sleeve sponsors. You have so many points of, you have shirt sponsor here, you have a patch here. Okay, so don't touch the TBL logo. But at the back of the jersey, at the top of the jersey, I mean, and there are small businesses within even the younger years. People's parents have businesses. It's about opening your mind and getting as many people involved in the planning for the season as possible. Don't leave it 2-3 people. But with regards to the changes, loan players are the same. The fee is slightly higher because we need to, again, it's an expensive season. It's very expensive to run TBL. I've learned the hard way. I looked at the budget and I got an instant migraine. I don't know how this man does it or did it. But instant migraine. I was like, how the hell are we going to pull this off? And then Chris is like, we'll figure it out. So, but look, there's so much planned, guys. We can't go through it in a single episode.
Yes,
we have 10 of these episodes for us to talk about everything that's going to be coming through. Yeah.
Chris, do you have something to say about season 6?
No, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, when we did season 4, we had 13, actually 14, then we ended with 13 teams. And then there was, but I'm glad that season 4 attracted new teams. Actually, now where we are, there's just no one else new to attract. We can't go any further up. We can only go further behind to the older guys. So for me, that's exciting because, like Akampa said, there are new minds that have been brought on board. There are people that were unraveled during the season, that whose talents we came across, and those talents will feed into the season. So it's very exciting what's going to happen in this season. I mean, I'm part of the planning, so but what I could say is that TBL plans are corporate secrets.
Yeah.
Because we have so many people out there waiting to know what we are doing, so they want to
Copy and
Right.
paste.
And read
So
it.
we don't let anything out
Yeah.
until we actually execute.
Yeah.
So let all the people just prepare themselves. I don't know if the dates have been put out there.
Dates are firmed up, yeah.
If the dates they'll be put out there officially, but once you get those dates, all I can say is that just pencil your calendar all through. Every 2 weeks, there is no other place to be but at the Budoli, because now it will be bigger, it will be better, more inclusive, a lot more activities. It's a much bigger brand. If you thought season 5 was up there, season 6 definitely is going to be even bigger.
Surely, if I say, man, what this guy have said, I'll become a liar. And this was it for this episode. This was ideally a teaser and an intro to this new season, new investment, new podcast. Season 6 came with something more interesting in the creative sector, and that's the TBL podcast that we named Off the Pitch podcast. And surely you guys can't miss out on whatever shall be sharing on this podcast and episodes coming. So see you in the next episode.